Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to build a life that you love. Let's go ahead and dive in. Isn't the purpose to not struggle our way through life, but to actually love everything that we do, to love the passage of time, to love the people that we're around, love the situations that we're in, love the challenges that come up? It seems like it's the purpose, right? Just to love life. So why don't enough people love their lives? I find that most people are content. They're okay. They don't love their lives. They don't hate their lives. They're content. But there's this underlying slight aggravation that they have. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to live this life, I would like to have a life that I feel I love as many aspects of as I possibly can. It's filled with stuff that I love. I don't want to do anything in my life that I'm not in love with. I want to be excited as many moments as I possibly can in this life that I live. And I've been building towards that. I've been working towards that. It's not perfect yet, but it's getting really, really good. And I want to tell you exactly how to do it because I think that's what we all should be doing. I'm here to tell you though, that the life that you love is not just going to fall at your feet. If you just do the same shit every single day and have zero intentions and zero clarity and zero direction, you're not going to love every aspect of it. But if you wake up in the same way that you meticulously, if you were one of the best painters in the world, you'd be meticulous about every single millimeter, every single inch, and making sure every single part of it was perfect before you put that and actually sold it for $1 million. Why don't you do the exact same thing with your life? Go through every single aspect of it and make sure that it is exactly what you want it to be. I'm going to say something I think is going to surprise a lot of people. But a life that you love doesn't just happen. It doesn't. But most people sit around and they're, like I said, they're content, but they're aggravated. And they're like, when is something going to change? When is something going to change? And my answer is when you fucking change. That's when it's going to change. Your life isn't just going to change one day. You wake up, it's like, oh my God, my life is amazing and I love it, right? You don't just wake up and one day it's all perfect. It's built, and it's built extremely intentionally, extremely meticulously. You have to plan it. You have to check that plan every single day, and you have to execute on it. I have a friend that I talk about often he's a mentor of mine who I talk about often in the podcast. And I've never mentioned his name on purpose, but he's worth, by the time he was 40 years old, he was worth over $100 million. And I have never met up with him to go get coffee, and he does not have his journal with him. And he has his journal, and in his journal is his planner. And on the very last page is all of his goals for the year. And so not only does he set his goals for the year, he also looks at it every single morning and goes over and tracks how he's doing. And then he also brings it everywhere with him. And then I'm curious how this guy got this life that he has now. And, he's extremely successful, but he's also got one of the best marriages I've ever seen. He's extremely close with his kids. And because he was so meticulous in planning his life, he was able to basically, quote unquote, retire way early. And now he spends the majority of his life just hanging out with his wife and children. He still works, and he still works very hard, but he doesn't have to work. He does it because he wants to and because it's fun. And he does that while his children are at school. And then when they're off of school, he's off of work. And so he's a great example for me to see of he is somebody who has meticulously planned out his life. He's paid attention to it every single day. He's taken action towards it, and he's built this amazing life. And everything in your life, I want you to know, is changeable. You are not stuck. You might feel like you're stuck sometimes, but you're not stuck. You can change your life at any moment. Now, do some things take longer? Yeah, you can't just immediately leave your job today if you don't enjoy it, if you've got bills to pay and a family and all that. But can you make a transition, over the next 2 years? Sure. And so it's really important for you to start thinking about everything in my life can be changed. So if there's something in my life that I don't like, well, then I can change it. And if I say, oh, well, I just have this job, I don't enjoy it, but I did get my degree in it 12 years ago, and so I'm just going to do this for the rest of my life. Oh, woe is me. I wish that I didn't have to do this. No, that's your fault if you're staying there. What if you made a list of everything that you love and everything that you need to change in your life? And you went through every single aspect of your life and you figured out what you love about it and you figured out what you need to change in it, right? So first off, your significant other, and you write down your significant other's name, and then you ask yourself, what do I love about them? What is amazing in our relationship that I love? And then you ask yourself, what needs to change in our relationship? Be real with yourself. And then you go to your relationship with your family. What do you love about your relationship with your family? What needs to change in your relationship with your family? Your relationship with your friends. What do I love about my relationship with my friends? What needs to change in my relationship with my friends? What about my job or my career or my company? What do I love about my company? What needs to change in my company? What about people that you work with or employees that you might have? What do I love about them? What needs to change? What about the house that you live in? What do I love about my house? What needs to change about the house? What about the car that you have? What do I love about my car? What needs to change about my car? What about the clothes that you have? What do I love about my clothes? What needs to change about my clothes? What about my mindset? What do I love about my mindset? What needs to change with my mindset? What about my morning routine? What do I love about my morning routine? What needs to change in my morning routine? And you go through every single aspect of your life. You figure out what you love about it. You keep whatever it is that you love, and then you figure out what needs to change. And that, at that moment, is now on you. It is now on you to make the changes you want to. And if you don't make the change, well, that was your choice. And if you do make the change, that was also your choice. From the moment you wake up every single morning to the moment you go back to bed, think about every single thing that you do, everything, everyone that you come in contact with, every action, every thought, what's going on in your head, and just write it down and say, what do I love about this? What needs to change? And then you start making adjustments. The life that you love is not that far out of reach. It just takes us to not be on autopilot so much. It takes you to be more intentional and have more attention and intention in your life and everything that's going on. And realize that it, like I said, it might not happen right away. Changes take time. But if change is going to happen, you have to be the person that does it. But if I told you that you could have the perfect life for you in 10 years, would that excite you? Hell yeah, it would excite you. That'd be the most exciting. In 10 years, you could have the perfect life. It might be okay right now. It might be pretty good right now. It might be terrible right now. But I'm telling you, what if in 10 years you could have the perfect life? Would that excite you? Would you want to hear more? Well, you'd have to realize that it could take 10 years, but if you were to get down to the nitty gritty and go through every single aspect of your life, everything, and say, you know what? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? It'll probably take you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years at most before you open your eyes and go, holy shit, this is amazing. I love this life that I've built. And the thing is, it's not the destination. You're going to start to love it more and more and more the more that you put time and intention into it. And so I want you just to understand, it won't happen unless you actually put the intention into it. And it's like, imagine you just started a business today. If you started a business, what would you do? You'd have a business plan. You'd have, quarterly reviews. You'd have weekly reviews. You'd have morning huddles with your team. Start treating your life like it's a business. It's the business, you're the CEO of this business. And start creating a business plan. What is my business plan of this life? And let's have quarterly reviews, and let's have weekly meetings, and let's have a morning huddle that's 5 minutes where I say, what am I going to do today? What would make today amazing? It blows my mind because so many people take their jobs more serious than they take their lives. I see it all the time. More people take their jobs in the company that they don't own more serious than they actually take their life. They will show up for their boss on time. They'll show up and make sure they get things done. When they say they're going to do something, they'll do it. And then they go home and they don't have any plan. They don't know what their direction is, what they want to do. And when they say to themselves, hey, I'm going to do this thing, they don't actually do it. So many people take their job more serious than they do their lives. But it's really simple. It's simple, but it takes time, right? You have to ask yourself and get extremely clear. The more clear, the better. What do I want in my life? What would a life that I absolutely love look like? Or as I like to say, what would a full fuck yes life look like? Where you wake up and you're like, fuck yes, this is amazing. It's possible. It might not feel like it at this moment because we've never been taught this. We've never had anybody say this to us, but it's possible to wake up and feel that way. So it's plan it out, figure it out, get really clear on what does it look like? What would a full fuck yes life look like to me? What would a life look like? And what would my relationship with my spouse look like? Relationship with my children? Where would I live? What would I be doing with my time? How would I spend my free time? How much money would be in my bank account? How would that money have gotten into my bank account? What would I spend my time working and doing? And you start to get really, really clear. And then what you do is you start to plan it out. And as you plan it out, you can actually get step by step exactly how to do it. And then what you do is you review it as often as you possibly can and you make adjustments. Because I guarantee you this, if you sit down right now to make a 10-year goal and a 10-year plan, that thing is going to need to move and shift many times over the next 10 years. And so it's important to make sure that you do that. But it's also really important to sit down and make really meaningful goals. This is one thing that I don't think people take enough time to do. Like they'll say, oh, you know what? I want to buy a new house. I want to lose 30 pounds. Those are not meaningful goals. I mean, meaningful goals in the fact of like, I want to take my family to Spain in 3 years. And maybe you're broke right now and you've been struggling to pay the bills recently, but you're like, in 3 years, I want to take my entire family to Spain. Okay, that's a goal of mine. That's a meaningful goal. That's a goal that makes me feel excited and feel alive. Let me figure out exactly how I'm going to make it happen because it might not be possible yet, but you can make adjustments in your life to make it possible. That's a meaningful goal. My goal is my son's about to start a baseball league. I want to go to every single one of his baseball games this season because last year I was only able to go to 2 of them and I was busy traveling. So a meaningful goal to me is to show up to all of my son's baseball games this season, right? And start figuring out what are meaningful goals because we're taught to strive and to achieve and all of that is great, but it's like, what brings the most meaning to your life? What are the goals that make you feel the most alive? It's your life. Shouldn't this be the thing that you take more serious than anything else? Like this is the thing that you should take more serious than anything else. But all too often, because of the fact that it's our life and it's what we've always had, we don't really take it that serious. It's like asking a fish what it's like to be in water. The fish is like, what are you talking about? Because it's always been surrounded by water. It never thinks about the water. Well, you've always been in this body. You've always been the person you currently are right now. So it's like, what if you take a step back and be like, okay, let me look at this life. Is this the life I actually have? Is it the one that I have? Is it the one that I want? Is it the one that I want to have in a year or 2 years or 5 years? This relationship that I'm in, is it the one that I want to be in a year or 2 years or 5 years? The stuff that's going on in my mind, the way that I talk to myself, is this the way that I want it to be in a year or 2 years or 5 years? It's your life. This should be the thing that you take more serious than anything else. And so what I think it really comes down to is if you really want to build a life that you love, you have to get very intentional about every single thing that you do in your life. And you go through and you ask yourself, in every aspect of my life, what do I love? And write it all down because those are all the parts that you want to keep. And then what needs to change? And you become very intentional about taking the weeds, plucking the weeds, keeping the flowers, the things that you love, and then placing new flowers in there. Because ultimately, it's your life. No one is going to come and save you. But if you put time and attention and planning and vision and clarity, and you put it all down and you start taking action towards it, you will 100% build a life that you love. So that's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, please do me a favor. Share it on your Instagram stories and tag me in it. Rob Dial Jr., ROBDIALJR. The only way this podcast grows is from you guys sharing it. So I'd greatly, greatly appreciate if you would share it out there for more people to find it. And also, if you're out there and you want to keep improving yourself, one of the best ways to do that is through journaling. I created a training of exactly how to journal. If you want it, it's free. You can go to mindsetmentorjournal.com and we'll actually give you a couple weeks free of journaling questions being sent directly to you in the morning. So you can wake up, look at your mailbox, your email box and say, okay, here's my journaling questions for the day. I'm going to journal through these to help me improve myself. So if you want that, once again, it's called mindsetmentorjournal.com. And with that, I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission, make someone else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.